Good morning. Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is November 7th. This is episode 154. Try to keep this under 45 minutes today, but today's topic is going to be the filibuster. What is it? I think you all know what the filibuster is. I do not need to explain it. At least I hope I don't have to explain it, but okay, I will in as easily as I can, which for me is a good way to go. I apologize. I have this continuing cold, but it is getting better. The filibuster states that you need more than a majority to pass legislation in the Senate. So it's just not a 50 plus one. It has to be like 63 or something of that number. Not exactly sure today, taking lots of medication. But what would happen is the filibuster would just be a simple majority, which a simple majority is 50 plus 1. And they'd be able to push through legislation. Now, the Democrats talked about removing the filibuster in 2021 or 2022, but they couldn't muster the votes. I would personally like to see the filibuster go away. I understand where people say that, you could have then one party rule all. Well, that's exactly what happens. And has not been the case because we have seen that from both sides, they're responsible. President Trump would want to see it go away because he has the numbers to push a lot of things through. And I don't see the practicality of having the filibuster in there for President Trump. President Trump was elected to make changes that he got voted into office to do. And the Senate is stopping that. I understand that at one time in the future, the Democrats will be in power and they will do the same thing. But they have threatened to do that. And believe me, if the Democrats were to win legitimately and retake the houses, do you think for a second that they would now keep the filibuster? That ball is in play. And right now, the advantage goes to the Republicans. And I think the Republicans should take advantage of that and get rid of it and let Trump pass his legislation. It's that simple. I think the Affordable Care Act that everyone's screaming about, just call it the Care Act. Or if you're really going to call it with some type of noun describing what it is, it's the Unaffordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act only became affordable when we, the taxpayers, paid the premiums for those people that did not pay taxes, that are not on the system. And even Obama said it was a bad system, but it was a system. I think the Republican response to the Affordable Care Act needs a lot more working. But in the meantime, the shutdown will or should continue until the Democrats come to their senses and say we need to work on the Affordable Care Act to make it affordable. And not just that I make it affordable because I'm paying the other people's premiums. Speaking for myself, I pay over $10,000 a year for my health insurance. Yeah, over $10,000 for my health insurance. If I went on the true marketplace, I'd still have to pay that because I have been successful, and it goes by your ability, and I get Social Security, I do get Medicare, which I pay for $200 and something per month, but I also pay over $480 a month for my supplemental. And I don't think I would do as well in the marketplace as I do through my sponsored program. So it is not affordable in the sense of being affordable. If I had nothing, if I owned nothing, if I just was living on Social Security and some little income, yeah, I would go into the marketplace, take the policy that would pay after Medicare ran out and supplemental, and it would be a lot cheaper. But I can't do that because I'm successful. So me being successful and a lot of other people, we have to pay for a lot of people that are not successful. So I think the answer is a one-payer system. I've always said that. That is the answer. The problem with a one-payer system through the government is there's very little checks and balances. And it will just become a pot where people can stick their hand into of money and just pull money out. And we've seen that. Social Security, Doge has proven that. Doge has proved a lot of mismanagement built inside our system of payments to organizations, mostly NGOs. So I'm very leery of a one-payer system, but a one-payer system is the answer, with checks and balances and really good oversight. And when I say oversight, I'm not saying, the first thing they do is say no to people. And if you don't want the one-payer system, then you pay for private health insurance. And it's that simple. You don't have to go on the one-pay system. You can go out and get your own and pay for it. I would. I'd have to look at, the benefits. From my experience, my insurance has been very good. I've been very happy with my insurance. Paying my $10,000 a year In my family's particular case, it worked out. So I think that that is a good thing. But having a choice, you know, and even in Canada and even in England, you could have your own private insurance. You don't have to go to the government health agency. And in reality, here in America, you can go into any hospital and you will get care. No one is turned away. So the fear factor is ridiculous by the Democrats because most people who are destituted or on welfare or government assistance or state welfare, and they're on Medicaid. And for the most part, that's a pretty good policy. It's a pretty good policy. I know people that are on Medicaid, and they don't pay anything. So the filibuster has to go, and I think the Democrats are really worried about losing it because it does give the advantage, but it doesn't give the advantage in the vote. It doesn't give the it, it doesn't turn away voters. So the idea is that if the Democrats were to win, what stops them from then reinstituting the filibuster in the Senate, right? If it were to be gone by the Republicans were able to push it through, and the Democrats are all saying that they're going to take 2026 and 2028. What's the fear factor? There should be budgets, there should be programs that without having the presidential powers writing it. We have a Congress, we have a Senate. Let's get that going. Let's get it going. Let's make it work. Because right now, it's not working. And we have a government and we have a people to take care of. I think that the Democrats, if they really are fearful of a Republican push and a serious push at that, need to make a deal. Now you had Bernie Sanders screaming that they shouldn't cave, that Democrats shouldn't cave, they should push, 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 and that's easy for him to say. The Democrats knew months before this budget issue and showdown that under the big beautiful bill that was being sponsored and then being accepted by the Democrats, mind you, they knew exactly what was in that bill and how all this was going to play out, and yet now they go, we want a game changer here. No. Nope, you don't get it. And if you win in 2026 and you win in 2028, anything that the Republicans are doing can be wiped clean. So what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of, Democrats? You're afraid that you won't win. And there's nothing that the Republicans are going to do that are going to prevent you from winning, other than the Republicans showing exactly the horseplay you've been doing for years with them. You can scare the people, and you talk about, all the Republican uneducated on. You feed off the uneducated. You eat off of them, Democrats, by telling them that the Republicans are going to hurt you and Republicans are going to do this to you and take your benefits away. No one's benefits are being taken away from them. Medicaid for the poor is not being touched. And for the people on Medicare, honestly, it's not being touched either. It's your supplementals that could be, but the market will adjust for that. Maybe you don't need 180 extra days in a hospital. Maybe you take a policy that gives you 60 days. Who do you know, other than people that are in serious accidents or serious, issues with their health, are in there for more than 80 days or 60 days? So there's all types of plans, there's all types of ways to handle this. But what you want to do, Democrats, is expand that with no checks or balances. You keep saying that illegals weren't getting any of these benefits, yet they were through a back door that you created. I want to see Doge go through everything again. Everything. In the 10 months of President Trump, he has accomplished so much. We Republicans are not going to change our stance. If anything, we're digging in deeper and harder. And it's just not going to run the way you think, Democrats, it's going to go. You are going to take moderate Democrats, your support of a communist, a jihadist, a person who said, I want to see the defeat of Israel. And you supported him. And you supported that platform. Do you think that that is not going to be turned around to every state election with a Republican? That advertising, this is your Democratic Party. This is their ultimate goal. What they did in New York City is the ultimate goal for America. You have Bernie Sanders saying this should be happening across America. You have AOC. I'm telling you, you guys, there is no more hiding what your agenda is. You've come out now and laid it out. And the Republicans, the RNC, led you down that path. You think the RNC is unhappy about losing in traditional blue states? No, no, no. They are not. Because now they have their poster child. And they have the people that supported that poster child. And they're going to go to town on that poster child. And they're going to go to town on Letitia James. They're going to go, I feel, unfairly with Schiff. I'm not a fan of Schiff. And I've said before that in podcasts that I think that it was wrong for them to indict Adam Schiff. And that the explanation he gave on why he listed his home as his primary residence would have been acceptable. I looked at that, I heard his statements on it, and I'd go, and I'm a constitutionalist, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, and I would have said, his explanation satisfies me. And, and just would have left it. You could put in there, you thought maybe it might have been a little unethical or, a little, it wasn't even a white lie. It wasn't even a thing like that. Letitia James, she outright lied, and she has a history of lying on applications. So it is one of these things where we know what she's doing. We know absolutely what she's doing. And it fools no one. We know what she's doing. And there's others that will be coming up. Mamdani will be shown to have lied all over the place on papers. And the question will be of legal issues and then of ethical issues. And I think within 18 months, Mamdani is gone. But in that 18 months, up to the 2026 election, they're going to be just spewing all this stuff. And the Democrats knew he lied on these applications. The Democrats knew the person that they were supporting was unethical. Letitia James, unethical. I'm sure Mayor Johnson in Chicago, they'll be digging stuff up on him if they haven't already. I can't say he has done anything unethical because I don't know. But I'm sure they'll find something. You have now Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, that they're finding out all these gambling things that he has been doing, and not that there's anything illegal with it, but it's the first step in them looking. Pritzker, right? Yeah. So I think that the Democrats who did this to Trump have to accept and expect the same treatment. In Trump's case, the information and facts were made up. Was not an issue. with Letitia James, yeah, it is an issue. We got proof. She's unethical. Mom Donnie, they're going to find that he's unethical. And going back to the filibuster, the idea that the Democrats, this is, sacrosanct. It isn't. The Democrats knew they didn't have the votes to go after it when they wanted to go after it. They used it as leverage. And again, I think that the idea of allowing the Democrats to save face, as a means of ending the shutdown, I don't think Trump's going to allow it. I don't think that he wants them to save face at this point. I think he wants them to fall flat on their face. And I think the Republicans are acting accordingly in the media. And when the Democrats say that it's the Republicans who have shut the government down, they're showing that's an outright lie. It's an outright lie. You want to open the government? Approve the budget that you said you would from accepting the big, beautiful bill. So the ball has always been in the Democrats' court. Approve it and move on. You don't control the House. You don't control the Congresses. You don't. So you misplayed your hand, and when you misplay your hand, you lose. You're trying a maximum bluff here by putting your people, Democrats, all in. This is win all or lose all. And Trump's not going to allow you to win all. Just telling you that. Not happening. You guys overplayed a very bad hand. Friday, I'm betting today that the Supreme Court will say the president has the power to set tariffs, because he already has the power. The question is, can he do it using the act that he said? And I believe that our debt is a national security issue. And I think he can show that. I thought the Republicans and the Trump administration has not done a very good job in presenting their case to the Supreme Court. And again, the Supreme Court doesn't make laws or anything like that. They just look at the constitutionality of it. And I don't think they presented enough to push the justices over the mark where they can almost give an instant reply. I think that Trump will get the okay from the Supreme Court. And I think at that point, you're going to have, the Democrats screaming and throwing themselves down. And, this is a dictatorship. We have a king, and we'll have another No King's Day. It's just the foolishness of the Democratic Party with this. And to me, my big beef with President Trump is that we have not heard enough yet on the 2020 election. And I want more of that to come out. For good, for bad, let's put it on the table, because you put it on the table, Mr. President. Now I want it. I want to start seeing the benefits of what we elected you to do. I don't care about Epstein. It's a fake talking point at this juncture. In the civil case, you have all the evidence you want. Go to town with it. Go to town with it. There's the evidence you have. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. You can only use whatever evidence that was presented to the courts to arrest him. I guess, Maxwell, her testimony. And have at it. You don't need any more Epstein. Epstein is a false narrative for the Democrats. It has nothing. It's not going to change the price of gasoline. It's not going to change the price of milk or eggs. So, what does it do? Oh, the women. The women, we have to protect. This is a woman's issue. Well, you just elected and supported a guy whose values are no education for women. That women have very few rights and must obey the rules of her husband. So when Democrats, if you get on that, we'll cut you to pieces. You have no idea of the trap that you've been led into. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I know for a fact the hardest part for the RNC is and will be is how the money is spent on advertising and how cutthroat do we get. And at this point, I would say let's get very cutthroat. And let's go out there and start campaigning now and having rallies, collecting money for the RNC to continue its fight against socialist communism. And we have a poster boy for it. We have a poster boy and a girl, and you have Newsom. And I think it's too early in the game to go after Newsom politically. Let him run around and do his thing. That's fine. He's been doing it for years as California gets deeper and deeper into debt. More and more people are moving out of California. More and more people are moving out of New York State. More and more people are moving out of Connecticut and Pennsylvania. And moving to red states. And they're not going to bring their blue values with them because that didn't work. They're leaving because of that. You left a very sour taste in their mouths. So if you think that they're going to go to Texas or they're going to go to Florida or they're going to go to South Carolina and change the makeup of the vote, man, who's ever giving you your information, James Carville, you got to stop those people. Who's ever giving you your marching orders? Soros? Don't know. But these people have been consistently wrong. And you got to stop listening to them and start seeing what's really going on and admitting what the problems are. And there's a lot of Republicans that have to do that too. You know, the housing issue and just the cost of housing and the cost of insurance. And I said before, a lot of it is due to building in places where people shouldn't be building. That in the past it was not sustainable property to improve upon. You know, you didn't have the roads, you didn't have the electric, you didn't have the water, you didn't have access to it. And now that's all been opened up, and mostly in California and in Florida and in the Gulf Shore areas. And you're building on places that, you know, would flood in hurricanes, and no one cared because it didn't damage anything. You know, maybe they had to rebuild and you know, and restore beaches and things like that. But that was relatively inexpensive to do. But once you started building communities on these properties and in forests, and then you had to run power lines to it, and of course the power lines come down, you had a very poor management system of taking care of your land management, and you had these fires that you couldn't control. So I look at a lot of these were state issues, had nothing to do with federal issues, and those states have to take responsibility for it. Florida has to take responsibility for it, for allowing properties to be utilized as they did in, you know, historically known bad areas. You know, Galveston. They all knew what was happening in Galveston. That's nothing new. And in California, come on. You don't think any of the political parties out there reaped huge benefits from builders and land investments? From contractors? From scoring federal money to build roads into those areas? And infrastructure? Come on. Stop. Wake up. Wake up. And that was with Republicans and that was with Democrats. And again, I say those are state issues. So we all have to pay for that. Well, Not people that don't own, but my insurance here in South Carolina is over $5,000 a year. So I'm paying between between car insurance, between homeowners and medical insurance, I'm paying $21,000 a year in insurance. Yeah. And that's the cost of living. Now, if I lived in a condo, a 2 bedroom, or, you know, dare say 3 bedroom condo, I'd be paying maybe $900 a month in HOA fees on top of a separate fire policy. So I wouldn't be saving that much. Wouldn't be saving that much. So I have my house. I'm not on the water. I'm close to the water, but I'm not on the water. Am I a 1%er? Absolutely not. I'm not a 1%er. Am I upper middle class? I would say no, I'm not upper middle class. Am I middle class? Yes, I'm middle class. I have a lot, I paid a lot. And that's the way it works in America. That's the way it works in America. When my grandmother was making $40 a week, she owned a home which took $68 a month of her money. And that was for her mortgage. And another $15 a month for insurance, and $12 a month for electricity and steam. They got steam heat. So out of her $160 a month, about $112 or $115 of that went out the door. If you take those same numbers today, it's a little higher, but probably on par. So the average salary today is, $50,000, $60,000, except here in South Carolina, where, they use old people for work, and there is no industry here other than service industry. And so we're not manufacturing many things here. We do, but not to the point of it making a big difference. It's not like California, and it's not like New York. Won't take that away from California, that they're a huge economy. But they accepted that economy, and now they're punishing that economy. So you are biting the hand that has fed you. Doesn't always work out well for you guys. You're seeing companies in California moving out because they're just being sued right and left and legislated to death. So, they're going to move out to more friendly territory. Utah, Nevada, Texas, Wyoming, and you still have all those roads to take care of. You still have, and that's the danger. That's the danger. All right, 45 minutes is what I said I would give on this subject. Love to hear back from you. Would be interesting to hear from you guys and see what you think on this. I got some feedback the other day, and it was, questions, and I feel good about it. All right, as I do with all my shows, at the end, I ask that you give to a charity of your choice. Check them out. Don't be a victim helping victims. And if you're not comfortable with that, and I certainly understand people not being comfortable giving to a charity, think about giving to a food bank, a couple of cans a week, what you can do. A lot of places, a lot of here, a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars have a food bank program. You drop it off there and they give it, and they do, and they have big fund drives, and it's a nice way to say, I'm going to give something back. And the holidays are coming, and but people aren't just hungry at holidays, and people just don't need help during the holidays. They need help, and you can say, well, these people put themselves into their circumstances, and in some cases, yes, you're absolutely correct. But the children didn't, and they're going hungry, or they're going without a good coat, or pants, or shoes. And you could all turn around and say, well, they get this and they get that. That might be the case. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't qualify. They're just they're just over that qualification. And that's when the community should step in and help them. And, religious organizations, whether they're part of that organization or not, they help. And I'm a big believer in that. So you might say, if I gave 5 cans a week, what is 5 cans? And I go to a person that has no cans, 5 cans is pretty good. It's 5 cans more than they had. Prayer, say prayers. Praying works, regardless what you'll hear a Democrat tell you. And if you want to know what I mean by that, shoot me a line. With that, I'm going to say thank you. I might have a show later on today if there's something coming out, and I haven't checked. I'm not running any of my programs going where I'm looking at breaking news. But if there is breaking news, if the Supreme Court should turn around and make a ruling that is substantial, I will have a show on it. All right, with that, I'm going to say thank you. If you're watching, like and subscribe, please. And even if you don't like it, let me know. But subscribe so you can keep up with, the phony baloney that is me, right? So I have no problem with that. And with that, I'll see you later as I fade to